We all know the Axe of Godfrey. The penultimate boss of the game swung this broken, yet still effective colossal weapon at us in his first phase. After facing and defeating Godfrey nearly 200 times in my own playthroughs, I thought it was time to give this iconic axe a try for myself. Everyone in the endgame has access to this weapon. Godfrey will drop his remembrance on defeat, and you can trade it with Enya to obtain his weapon. The base moveset is a standard 3-chain light attack and a 2-chain heavy attack. Since it is a colossal, the poise damage done is great, and you'll see your fair share of poise breaks. This moveset is fine enough for a game clear, but the Ash of War adds a fair amount of depth to it. Regal Roar is the Ash of War version of Godfrey's arena-wide phase transition. Tap the L2 button and your Tarnished starts a roar ending in an AoE. After the AoE, you receive a temporary buff to strength scaling and physical damage. Most interestingly, your heavy attacks are replaced with a stomp and the swings that Godfrey uses in the boss fight for the duration of the buff. These attacks look much cooler and are perfect against enemies that can be knocked down or against opponents you can tank a few hits from. The roar is longer than most moves in the game and cannot be charged, so the best course of action is to use it before you start a fight. There will be few opportunities to use it in the faster paced fights of the DLC and endgame. Now there's a note of clarification I would like to make regarding this buff and its interaction with the two-handed sword talisman. This item usually buffs all moveset attacks, meaning R2s and R1s. On the wiki, it notes the two-handed sword talisman will not work under the effect of Regal Roar. This is correct for the modified heavy attacks while buffed. However, this is not the case for the other attacks, such as the light attacks, which remain the same and can be buffed with both the Ash of War and the Talisman. You will see me a few times in these clips using the R1s while under the effect of Regal Roar, and that stacking buff is why. For the spells of the build, I use the good old Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength combo for the 15% damage buff and 10% damage negation buff, and the 20% physical damage increase. Start each fight with a flask, then Vow, then Regal Roar, and end with Flame Grant Me Strength. If you're fighting something like an NPC, you can save the Ash of War until your opponent is in shockwave range, as this attack will send them flying, much like Giant Hunt or Stamp Upward Cut. From there, use the charged modified heavy attacks. Their AI can't handle dodging it well, and a few hits later, you'll emerge victorious. For other engagements, I would use the uncharged heavy attacks and the light attacks since, as I mentioned earlier, they can be buffed by both Talisman and Ash of War. If you're close to finishing off an enemy, don't feel afraid to tank a hit. Since I had great damage negation, due in no small part to the scaled armor. My playthrough with the Axe of Godfrey was fun, but it does not come close to my favorite remembrance weapons in the game. And that is what I want to ask you this week. Which remembrance weapon is your favorite? I prefer Morgoth's Cursed Sword, the Hand of Melania, and Marika's Hammer over the Axe of Godfrey by a fair margin. There are still a few remembrance weapons I haven't done a build video on yet, among many others, so to stay tuned for those and other videos on games in the Souls-like genre every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to like and subscribe to TheJerseySide. Our talismans for the build were the two-handed sword talisman, for more damage with the moveset, the Dragon Crest Great Shield, for 20% damage negation, the two-headed turtle talisman, to increase stamina regeneration, and the axe talisman, for better damage with fully charged heavies. There are a few other talismans you can choose from for this build, such as the Roar Medallion, as this Ash of War is a roar, or the Shard of Alexander, if you plan on using that shockwave a lot. But for my playstyle, I preferred the damage negation and stamina regen. Our tiers for the build were the Opaline Hard tier, for 15% more damage negation, and the Spiked Crack tier, for even more damage with the fully charged heavy attacks. Our stats at RL 170 were 60 Vigor, 15 Mind, 35 Endurance, 54 Strength, 44 Dexterity, and 25 Faith to use the incantations. On first glance, you may think that the Axe of Godfrey is a strength weapon, but the scaling is much closer to being quality. So hit the two-handed soft cap at 54 Strength, and then invest in Dexterity. Axe of Godfrey is a great quality weapon. If you want a unique colossal moveset, or to LARP as the first Elden Lord himself, do give it a go.